What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with Gab and Maui. Ah, alam ko medyo hindi kayo happy today, Gab and Maui. Si Maui natatawa pero medyo sad din yan.
Sarcastic yan. Sarcastic laugh yan.
Sad din yan.
Wearing black.
Si Gab nakaitim, guys. Pansinin nyo, nakaitim naman si Gab. So, we're back here. Unfortunately, we can't bring you any good news. Puro bad news lang. Loss. We're going to talk about Gilas today. We lost our first two games against Dominican Republic and Angola yesterday. We're going to talk about those games. So, I actually was able to see the Dominican Republic game, but I was out of town. Long weekend tayong mga Pinoy. So I was out of town during the weekend. Wasn't able to watch the Angola game. Bad internet. But I know, Maui, you watched it live. You watched the Philippines-Angola game live. How was the experience overall? Anong pakiramdam? At the start, during the end, when we were losing, anong pakiramdam?
How was that funeral?
Anong balita doon?
How was that funeral?
Live.
Sa Baguio dapat ako pero pinili ko manood ng Pilipinas. Alam mo naman tayo.
Para sa Gilas.
National team.
Sana nag-Baguio ka na lang, pare. Mas masaya siguro dun.
Yung experience was unlike any other. I think yung pinaka-bad trip for me is yung start when I arrived at the arena. When I arrived at Araneta Coliseum, I went there very early. Mga 3 o'clock kasi takot ako sa traffic. Alam mo naman sa Philippines It was very disheartening to me kasi walang exit to the arena. We went to, my cousins and I watched the game. We went to like 3 exits, lahat exit. So lahat ng mga fans, lahat ng foreigners, Filipinos were just going around the arena looking for where the exit was. I parked beside the arena.
Exit or entrance?
Entrance, sorry. There was no exit from the parking. The only exit from the parking was one, yung direct entrance to Araneta, which is the second floor, and yung entrance ng cars. So it was really crazy kasi I arrived early. The tickets I bought was only for the Philippine game. I didn't watch the Dominican Republic Italy game. So very very frustrating na simula pa lang. But yeah, before the game I was very impressed. To be honest, after the fiasco dun sa parking, I was impressed with Araneta. The last time I watched in Araneta was the UAAP season in 2019. So medyo matagal na. I didn't watch mga COVID seasons. Yeah. May new wing yung Araneta, and then ang ganda ng Red Gate. The crowd was crazy even before entering the arena. You can feel yung energy ng Filipinos. It was like no other. Hindi siya. I mean, I go to Ateneo Lasal, I go to UP Ateneo, wild yung pila sa labas, but the energy is not there. It's crazy yung energy before you enter the arena. This is my first time watching a FIBA game for the Philippines, by the way. But yeah, so I started, we entered at around 6:30. We got to the arena after like 30 minutes to an hour. The line was crazy. Then we had to wait for like 30 minutes, and then there was a pre-game show na I was I have to give props to the committee who planned the games. Araneta did not look like the previous Araneta Coliseum. It was like a world-class Coliseum. The lights were crazy. It was very electric yung start, to be honest. And I think it's one of the reasons why yung energy ng Philippine team was very high no start, because everyone was electrified. There was a DJ. The lights were crazy. They were dancing. But yeah, generally the experience was, I think, watching a UAAP game is still more intense than watching a Philippine game. Watching a FIBA game, probably like watching an NBA game or even the All-Stars of the NBA players when they went here. You don't feel the energy. The same energy as you feel when you watch an Ateneo UP game, when you watch UST chanting "Go Ste" and doing the hand signals. But obviously the crowd was biased since we're all Filipinos there. But there were no drums, so it was a different experience completely for me as a basketball fan. I would say I understand why the players say that the UAP experience is like no other experience. I mean, most of the players when they play in the PBA, they're shocked because of the experience versus in the UAP, it's a different atmosphere sa UAP. Ibang klase yung college cheering. That's my key takeaway. But yeah, generally I was very happy with what I saw, especially yung upgrades ng Araneta Coliseum. Para kang wala talaga sa Philippines, to be honest. So that I give them props for that, only for that, but not.
How was it at the end though? How was it at the end though? Because that was the striking part in the telecast.
Pare, sabi ko, at the end of the game, it was like going to a funeral. Everyone was quiet. Angola, the small number of fans from Angola were going crazy. I was scared, to be honest, na baka may Filipino na mabaliw and then biglang magkaaway. But yeah, it was like watching a funeral. Everyone was shocked. We should have won that game. We should have won the Angola game. I even asked yung friends ko tsaka cousins ko that go on betting sites and bet just to have an idea kung ano yung odds for the game. Philippines was favored by at least 7 points. I mean, even if
7 points.
7 points, yes.
What?
Had we bet on Angola, we would have won more than 3.5 times. So if you bet Angola wins, you would have won 3.5 times. But obviously, why would we do that? I mean, it's crazy. So going to the Coliseum, I was really expecting Gilas to win. So it was crazy. I guess most of the crowd also expected them to win, especially after the showing against Dominican Republic.
And Maui, naalala ko nung pinag-uusapan natin to, you and your cousins, you decided to watch the Angola game kasi you guys instead of like kunya DR mapapanood mo si Kat, but you guys wanted the winnable game, diba? So you wanted to watch this kasi you really wanted to cheer and hope for that win, you know. Pero good points from Maui, like started on a good note. So guys, we started on a good note. Pero syempre, hindi naman natin makokontrol yung ending, no? So what happened in the end? We obviously lost. And I know, Gab, Maui, you guys have your thoughts here. Pero, so I'm gonna ask you guys, we're going to go back to an old segment that we do. Kasi I wanna keep things positive pa rin. So, nakita nyo na siguro sa title nung episode na to, we're gonna do Ballers versus Boleros. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Gab and Maui, ano yung pick nyo as your baller for so far dito sa Gilas, as a World Cup competition ng Gilas, and ano yung bolero nyo? So, baller meaning it's a good thing, it can be anything, no? Si Maui could say, baller para sa akin yung setup ng ng World Cup, ng Araneta, ganyan. Or could be a player.
Wala na ibang mahanap eh.
A coach, anything goes. Or bolero would be the opposite, di ba? Nang bobola lang. Something bad, ayaw nyo. So, Maui sort of like started things. So, I wanna go to Gab. So, si Maui medyo may good and bad na siya. May positive, negatives na siya. Gab, let's start with baller. Let's start on parang good note muna. Ano yung baller mo sa World Cup?
Of these two games, honestly pare, sobrang hirap humarap ng winner/baller.
Grabe
of these two
grabe.
games.
Winner?
Ang hirap talaga.
Winner dyan?
I can't. Sobrang ang sakit sa akin eh, manood ng last two games. Especially, we could have won. We should have been 2-0. In all honesty, winnable games.
Diretso Olympics na sana, 'di ba? If we
got 'di ba? Winnable games.
We have a chance to get to the Olympics easily. Congrats to Japan for having that historic win and getting to the Olympics now.
So my baller, well, I'm gonna say ballers. No, I do want to give a shout out to our opponents. So my first baller is Angola and Dominican Republic. I think they played hell of both of them played superb games. You know, it's hard, coming into a home country of the Philippines against the Philippine team and just playing them out of the court, especially in the fourth quarter. Um, their coaches, I think, are ballers too. I forgot Garcia, yung name ng coach ng Dominican Republic, and I forgot the name of the coach of the Angolan team. But yeah, I thought in the first game, Philippines versus Dominican Republic, I thought the Philippines had the upper hand in the first half. Jordan Clarkson was getting hit to his spots. He was getting the ball every single time because every play was run for him every single time. But yeah, and then in the second half, was an entirely different story. I think it was a great adjustment by the Dominican Republic coach, overplaying Jordan Clarkson every single time. He basically read Chot Reyes' play on every possession. He knew already what was going to happen, and the Philippines did not adjust, and they essentially won the game by making life harder for Jordan Clarkson. And just doing that, no, they were hard denying Jordan Clarkson every single time in the second half of that game, and you could see that if the ball didn't go to Jordan Clarkson, there was no other option for the Philippine offense, which was fucking crazy in my opinion. There are 4 other talented players on the court. Why is it that when you don't give it to one person, nothing happens anymore? So
Gab,
yun.
Nasa baller tayo.
Yeah. So I am giving props to Dominican Republic. Yeah. So I thought great adjustments by Dominican Republic in the second half. And same thing for Angola in the game yesterday. Start pa lang, I think they scouted the Philippines during the Dominican Republic game. They were playing the defense that the Dominican Republic put up in the second half, just overplaying Jordan Clarkson, trapping Jordan Clarkson every single time. And you got to give them props. They did their homework. They played great games, especially Angola. I thought they had a bad start, and then I think they were down by 11 in the first quarter. Then slowly just trimmed the lead down. It's eventually left Philippines behind. The Philippines made the run in the fourth quarter, but it was too far off to catch up. But yeah, and my minor baller, siguro to find one for the Philippine team, siguro si AJ Edu. Siya ng pinaka-baller talaga para sa akin sa Philippine team. I thought he matched up against all NBA talent, an all-star talent in Karl Anthony Towns in the first game. He matched up against NBA caliber player in Bruno Fernando in the Angola game and held his own. I mean, he was abused strength-wise by both players, but he kept up. He wasn't. We were talking about this in the chat, no, in our chat group. He wasn't a minus technically against Karl Anthony Towns. He wasn't getting exposed. He was keeping up. He could guard him on the perimeter. Medyo outmatched lang siya yung strength-wise. He couldn't really outmuscle or get Karl Anthony Towns or even Bruno Fernando yung out of position. They're just bigger guys. But I think he played an excellent tournament. An excellent 2 games. No?
Tapos na.
Considering this... para sa akin, it's over na. I'm sorry. I'm so hopeless right now. Gusto ko na sumuko sa Gilas. Pero, yeah, but si AJ Edu, no place for run for him. There was no place run for him, but he tried to make the most of what he had, got those drop passes, some putbacks in that game yesterday. I thought of all the Philippine team players, I think he was the most impressive one. And yeah, those are my 2 ballers. Maui or Sammy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maui, go ahead.
I think I have 2 ballers also. I'm gonna pick. Gab mentioned as AJ Edu, so AJ Edu's the first one. I think he really did match up well with Bruno Fernando and Karl Anthony Towns. Both of those NBA players, yung pre-game pressers nila, they mentioned that AJ Edu really made their jobs harder. I think having that type of player is a must for the Philippine team. I think AJ Edu just cemented his place in the Gilas lineup for the next 10 to 15 years. hopefully he gets in the lineup every time we play in the FIBA, in any FIBA sanctioned tournaments. But yeah, I think he has to work. One of the things that I think that he has to work on is probably his outside shooting, his corner 3-pointer. He was getting he was supposed to get a lot of open looks from the perimeter, especially dun sa corners. But unfortunately, I think he's not that confident yet with his shot. So there were times that he was called for a traveling, or he fumbled the ball, or we just wasted the clock. I think if he gets that outside shot, he would be a even better prospect. Being a 3-and-D 4 and 5 man is very good. I think in any league around the world. So hopefully he gets some reps in the Japan, in the B League, and he gets even better. I think he has shown that he is one of the future of Gilas. He has shown that he is probably more valuable, or even as valuable as Kai Soto is as with the future in Gilas. So yeah, I think that's something that we can work on. Hopefully him, Carl Tamayo, and probably Baltazar, they play in the future. But yeah, another baller that I really want to shout out is, just because of all the haters and all the online banter and everything, I think it's Kiefer Ravena. I mean, Kiefer Ravena just plays basketball. When his number is called, he plays basketball. He doesn't react. He doesn't. He's not. He just plays basketball. Basketball lang talaga, walang reklamo. And I think he is probably the best point guard in this lineup of Gilas. Sorry to all the Scotty Thompson fans. I don't think Scotty Thompson is built for international basketball as a point guard. Probably as a 6-man energy man. But I think Kiefer Ravena, he played himself into the lineup. And I am very surprised and very disappointed at the same time that they played him only in the second half. I mean, in the Angola game. And you can see in the third quarter, that was Jordan Clarkson's best quarter. Just because he had another capable ball handler, just because he had another aggressive guard that was looking to score. I think Kiefer Ravena should have played more, even in the first half. Jordan Clarkson probably wouldn't have had a worse first half. I think he would have been able to play as a wing player. Most of Jordan Clarkson's baskets during this game was through cuts. I think Angola, as Gab mentioned, really did a good job scouting the offensive schemes of the Philippines to get Jordan Clarkson open. I have to shout
schemes, plural. There's only one.
But yeah. But yeah, I think shout out also to those tall power forwards of Angola for guarding Jordan Clarkson. They were playing 3 big lineups. I can't believe that the Philippines was not able to punish 3 big lineups. Bruno Fernando was playing the small forward slot for certain parts of the game, and they were not able to take advantage of that. I think the only key positive take from any of the things that they were able to take advantage were those small guards when they posted up Pogoy. But yeah, I think props to Kiefer Ravena. I think he's really a baller in my head. I think with all the hate, kahit nababang ko, even being mentioned as supposedly the guy that should have been cut, he really has played into the lineup and he has shown that he belongs.
You mentioned the Angola game, Maui, na he was played only in the second half. Nung Dominican Republic game, he was played only in the first half.
Actually, and he was lang ata eh. Hindi ba?
Second quarter. And he was a plus in those 7 minutes in the second quarter. He was a plus. And for some dumbfounded reason, he did not play in the second half of the Dominican Republic game. And everyone was like, why aren't you playing Kiefer? He was the only positive in the first half. Well, aside from Jordan Clarkson, but he played so well in the second quarter. You would have thought, he would have gotten more minutes in the second half, that Dominican Republic game, especially when Jordan Clarkson fouled out. You would have, as any casual fan could have seen, you could have needed a shot taker, a shot creator. Kiefer Ravena is that guy. He's a shot creator. He can create shots for himself and for his teammates. And yet, he wasn't inserted. I was just, tama ka. Kiefer, I think, cemented himself as a he was a previous captain, I think, for Gilas. So
Yeah.
I think he should continue to be in Gilas. He should get more minutes. And the fact that he played so sporadically in these two games shows na there's no stable rotation in this team.
Correct.
Which,
Correct.
diba? Which is
Crazy.
fucking crazy. That
Crazy.
there is no stable rotation in this. CJ Perez didn't play in the Dominican Republic game, and yet he was getting big minutes in the Angola game, and I really don't get it. Anyway, we'll get there in the Boleros, siguro naman. But Sammy, you wanna add anything?
No, so my pick, I didn't expect Maui to pick Kiefer, pero I also just wanted to give props to Kiefer. I agree with everything you said, Maui. Gab, nagulat din ako. I think pinag-uusapan natin siya sa Telegram when JC went out, and then like a couple of yung next few plays ng Gilas medyo hesitant yung guys to take a shot, to make a play. I was like, put Kiefer in. But ayaw niya try si Kiefer. But, oh well, whatever. So, I just wanted to give props to Kiefer kasi a lot of people were hating on Kiefer. This guy's a legit badass MF. This is a legit
For
baller.
nothing, for all the loyalty, di ba? From the junior ranks to the senior ranks. He's getting...
Diba? He has the
Major
most
guy, no?
experience. He's the most experienced player. He's been playing since he was a baby in Gilas.
Oh, that's true.
Grade
That's
4,
true.
grade 5 pa naglalaro na siya
Elementary.
internationally for the
Elementary.
Philippines.
So he's used to this type of pressure. He would have been perfect there kasi close game pa nun eh. Nung nawala si JC, it was a winnable game pa. Hindi naman parang tambak na nun or whatnot eh, diba? So, wanted to give my flowers to JC, to Kiefer. AJ Edu also, you guys already mentioned. So, I really hope he's bata pa, diba? 23, I think. So
23.
hoping
he has a good future with the Gilas
no more
program.
injuries for AJ.
Yun, sasabihin ko sana. But I'm also crossing my finger na huwag ka na ma-injure, stay healthy. Actually, that's a win for me, no? Na finally si Edu was able to stay healthy so that we can finally see him. Diba? Kasi he's been part of the team or like he's always been shortlisted.
Youth team, yeah.
Pero lagi siyang injured, diba?
Yeah, he was part of the youth team also with Kai Soto before.
Yeah, so
Before we
I think yun-
move on to our Boleros, I just thought of this now. I do want to you talk about giving flowers. I do want to give some flowers naman to another player I think who played really well in these two games, and I think we wouldn't be close to having a chance in these two games if it weren't for Junmar Fajardo. I think
Yeah.
Junmar,
especially the Dominican
played-
Republic game.
Yeah.
again, we mentioned this in our luck maybe or not for the Gilas team that despite you getting up there in age and slowing down, Junmar in the inside is still a badass and strong motherfucker inside. I mean, diba, every time he gets it inside, you can assure yourself of some free throws or maybe a sure-in basket. He just knows how to use his body, his elbows to create space, to create easy baskets. And I'm kind of sad they didn't run more Junmar post-ups. I mean, nung Dominican Republic game, he was dominating inside.
Yeah.
Honestly, and he played nearly the entire game. So ako, Junmar, again, I called him the unofficial GOAT of the PBA. I mean, he is a 5-time, 6-time MVP already. And he proved it why. I mean, he's getting up there in age. How old is Junmar na ba? 33, 34?
34 na. This is probably his last World Cup, I think. Sadly.
Well, if Asitaw Lava can play until he's 45, I think isagad natin si Junmar. Baka gusto ni Junmar
33.
until 40 plus.
Masyado lang sad for me if si Junmar pa rin yung best big man natin in the next iteration of Gilas. I mean, even Junmar, I think, has mentioned that this might be his last ride.
It should be. There's a lot of miles on those legs of Junmar. But yeah, I do want to give flowers to Junmar.
Yeah, this is his third
I mean,
World Cup.
he played his heart out. Honestly, Junmar. He played tough, nakipagbanggaan. I mean, you can't ask anything more from Junmar.
Lumaban talaga siya. Idol talaga to si Junmar, lalo na nung naka-fish siya ng foul kay Kat, no? So, good call, Gab. Classic Junmar move.
Diba?
We have
Nahuli
to
niya
give
si
props
Kat
to
eh.
Junmar. You reach at teach. Let's go to. So those are some of the good things that we saw. I think medyo marami na ring negative na napag-usapan, but let's go to the Boleros. Ano ang Boleros niyo naman from this game, or yung mga negatives that you didn't like? Let's start with Gab.
Ang pinaka-bolero, ang pinaka-loser sa 2 games na to, I'm assuming Maui is gonna mention a certain coach or coaching staff. So I will go with something else. Ang pinaka-bolero talaga dito ay tayong mga Filipino basketball fans.
Damn it, inagawan mo ako, Gab. Yun dapat ending ko eh.
Well, I'm sorry, pero that's
okay, go.
That is how I genuinely felt last night watching the Angola versus Philippines game. Para sa akin, sobrang talo talaga tayo. When did we win the bid to host this World Cup? Like 2019, 2018?
I think
Around that time?
I think earlier pa.
Yeah, earlier pa. So, we've had 4-5 years to prepare for this World Cup. And what we're watching is the product we get from our Philippine basketball team, men's basketball team. What the fuck? Yun lang talagang reaction kayo. What the fuck is this? This is barangay basketball in the grandest stage of them all. Barangay basketball. Literally, I'm sure even casual Filipino basketball fans notice this. Especially Dominican Republic game. Every single play, we were looking for Jordan Clarkson on offense. Every single play, as in no fail. Every action was to get Jordan Clarkson free. Every iteration of whatever play was happening was just to get Jordan Clarkson free. And honestly, it was very creative to the many screens they set for Jordan Clarkson and the many actions. And you can see that they were just, every player was really just looking for Jordan Clarkson. And nakagago kasi, as I mentioned earlier, Dominican Republic and Angola made adjustments para ma-deny yung bola kay Jordan Clarkson. Pero siya pa rin hinahanap natin. Pinipilit talaga natin sa kanya. It's just like, it's barangay playground basketball. You know, may isang magaling ka sa team, siya yung varsity, ibigay mo sa kanya, ikaw bahala, panalo. I mean, Maui mentioned earlier that it was like a funeral in the Araneta Coliseum by the end of the game. And that is how it felt also from watching, because in the telecast, and I was watching it through Pilipinas Live, they were showing faces of Filipino basketball fans, and they were devastated. They had their faces were in their hands. They were so dead. I mean, parang nadaya sila. I mean, you spent a lot of money. You expect a Philippine win in our home court, our home country, and yung product na yung nilabas is not even close to what we expected. And it just like, for me, it's just like this team was made a week ago. Well, they probably were. They probably were made a week ago. And
hindi pa nga sure si
diba?
Kai Soto,
Kasi,
si Clarkson, di ba? Like 2 weeks
ago.
ago.
Di ba? So, for me, lugi talaga tayong mga, di ba? So, sobrang nalugi talaga tayong Filipino basketball fans sa produkto na yung nilabas ng SBP at ng Gilas. No, this is not on the players. I want to say this lang. This is not on the players. We assembled a talented team. I don't think that's any question to anyone. This team is talented. There's a lot of talented players on this team. I mean, you could see the skill level gap between the Angolan players and the Philippine players, but Angola just played better offense and better defense, and the Philippines just looked for one guy the entire game, and they couldn't adjust. I mean, where was the adjustment? I mean, ako talaga, ang hirap panoorin, especially yung third at fourth quarter versus Angola. As I mentioned earlier, this should have been 2 wins for the Philippines, and we got 2 losses that were pretty ugly, in my opinion. They're pretty ugly losses. Because you could see that adjustments should have been made, and they weren't made at all. And the brilliant minds of the coaching staff, I mean, what was happening? I don't know. Okay, papahinga muna ako.
Yeah.
Awi.
Yeah, for me, I think Gab pretty much summed it up. If I were to choose Boleros, I'd probably choose 2. I'd go first with a player that was too much hype for me, and I mentioned him kanina. It's Scotty Thompson first sa Boleros. I think I'm not sure if it's his injured hand or if it's his injury, whatever his injury is, but he was really exposed this World Cup for me. I don't think he is the point guard that Gilas should have. There are more better choices, in my opinion, to fit the point guard slot, especially with a guard like Jordan Clarkson. I could have gotten Bolik, I could have gotten RJ Barrientos, I could have gotten even Wami Chongson, a better shooter, more fitted to a ball dominant guard, but not sure if it's because of the also of Thompson having to play unnaturally. He's used to having the ball also in his hands in the PBA, but sorry for Thompson, but he really did not perform this World Cup. And it's sad because he worked hard to be able to play. But unfortunately, if I were the coaching staff, I would have given Kiefer Ravena really more minutes, probably try other lineups. Some lineups where Clarkson played the point guard work, but I think Thompson really was exposed this World Cup. Next, my next Bolero is obviously the coaching staff and SBP. SBP mostly, Gab mentioned this, we had time. We had 5 years, at least 5 years to prepare for this. There was a 23 for 2023 list. What happened to that? I mean, most of the players on that list, I think only Kai Soto and probably si 30 is part of the pool. This team is a talented team. There's no question about it. Most of the players play abroad. Filipinos now get the opportunity to play abroad. We are more talented than we were 10 years ago. It's crazy to think that 10 years after there has been no progress. I posted last night in Twitter, I'm disappointed, beyond disappointed with the performance of the Philippines. We expected more. We deserve more. I mean, the fans deserve more.
Here.
The funding of the basketball team here in the Philippines is crazy. I mean, there are countries in Africa like Angola or probably Ivory Coast and even Cabo Verde who I think won their game kanina. It's crazy. The Philippines has so much attention in basketball. Many fans are really angry already why we are funding the basketball team. But there have been no progress. I mean, other sports we do better. There has to be an overhaul to SBP. I think if we want to move forward, if you want to go up, I mean, we have to give props to SBP and Coach Shot for steering the Philippines to its first World Cup. But it's been 10 years. We have to move on. And we have to really, for me, we have to do an overhaul. Probably has to start in the PBA. I mean, Japan just got a direct invite to the Olympics. And I think them retooling their professional league, the B League, really had a big part. I mean, if you watch the Japan game yesterday, it wasn't all about Yuta Watanabe. It was about 22-year-old guards from the B League really doing their job and I mean, everyone is contributing. It doesn't have to be an NBA player. Yuto Watanabe just played his natural position of being that energy guy, and other players scored. I mean, it's crazy to think that, I mean, it's been 10 years since that World Cup when we made the miracle run. There has to be something better. Tama si Gab, nakakapagod na. Malapit na talaga rin akong sumuko sa Gilas, to be honest. And I think it has to start with the SBP. It has to start with an overhaul. And we have to have another head coach. I think, thank you to Coach Chot for bringing us to the World Cup. But we have to change. We have to improve. We have to be better. I mean, other Asian countries are, I mean, before it was only about China or probably Korea. Now we have very good Asian counterparts. Indonesia beat us in the SEA Games. Jordan just won, I think, had a very big World Cup game. Lebanon has been...
Sabi nga ni Yeng Yao, di ba? Yung napag-iwanan na yung Philippines, sabi nga ni Yeng Yao eh.
Yes. And
Coach Yeng na yun.
Finally, a coach from the PBA says that napag-iwanan na talaga PBA. Because it's really evident. I mean, it's not just about us having those players. I mean, we have world-class players who play in the B League, who play in the NBL. We have players from all around. We have options. It really has to be...
It's not about talent, di ba, Mau? It's not about talent because we have so many talented players.
When all of our players were just from the PBA, we went to the World Cup. Now we have players who play abroad. It's not about the talent. It's really about the program. There are teams that really do better, and a team like Dominican Republic, even without Carl Anthony Towns, really did well in the FIBA America, and that's because of their program. That's because of how they prepared and how they really prepared. And I think the Philippines has to do a better job. So I think the biggest Bolero, despite having a good showing in terms of the renovation of probably both the MOA and Araneta, is really SBP and the coaching staff. We have to do better. The fans, we deserve better. We deserve more, right? That's just it.
I do want to make a point, if you would allow me, Sam, to make a point. So, I'm kind of saying na, you know, medyo mahirap na mag-ISO ball lang tayo kay Jordan Clarkson. And I saw some blame going around kay Jordan Clarkson. This is not on Jordan Clarkson as well. I think he played his role perfectly. I mean, he's known as a scorer. And every play, I think we argued about this, you know, whether it's beneficial to have Jordan Clarkson on the team or not. I'm in the camp that I think it's better not to have him on the court, but to have a player of Jordan Clarkson's talent and caliber, of course, is a plus. But it's how you use him. Eh.
Yes.
Alam mo yun? It can't be on every possession, ibigay lang natin yung bola, tapos tiwala lang tayo he'll make a score. In the first game against the Dominican Republic, Jordan Clarkson fouled out because he didn't have any other options when he went one-on-one. He went one-on-one, di ba? I think he was called for 2 offensive fouls in the fourth quarter. Because pinipilit niya eh.
Offensive fouls the whole game. Yeah.
Di ba? Kasi pinipilit niya, whenever he would get in the paint, matatrap siya. There was no other option. There was no off-ball action to get other people free. There were no cuts in the paint. And mapipilitan siya to use elbows, to use whatever physical advantage he had. And he was called for offensive fouls. Nahihirapan din siya eh. I mean, I'm not against Jordan Clarkson being in Gilas because I think he's so talented. He's such a great scorer. Pero
kami pakailam siya. Credits
and he cares. I mean,
you can see his reactions. He really wants to win it. It's not just about
and I'm sure he's proud to play for us. He's proud to play for us. And I just think kasi nung una I was against him being in this team because of how we play with him.
Yes.
Diba? Nakita mo na eh. Diba? Whenever he's in Gilas and ganito yung sistema natin, wala tayong napupuntahan eh. Puro lang tayo, yung lahat ng players, yung 4 players on the court, nanonood lang sa kanya eh. It's so infuriating na yung basketball, yung type of basketball that we're playing on the biggest stage of basketball is one-on-one, ISO, hero basketball. And other teams have NBA players. They don't play that way. Diba? Dominican Republic has an all-star in Carl Anthony Towns. They don't play that way. They don't just give him the ball and let him do everything. Diba? So yun, I'm not against Jordan Clarkson. I love the guy. I think he cares about the Filipinos. But to play that way is just unacceptable. Sammy.
I think you guys pretty much covered everything. I think at the end of the day, tayong lahat yung talo. Yung every Filipino fan, and I think it was you, Gab, who mentioned it. Alam mo, hindi lang talaga yung basketball fans but also the casuals. Kasi this is like Philippines versus other countries, diba? It's not like kahit sa UAAP mao, diba? Like, some people don't care. Kasi if you're not from Ateneo, you're not from Lasal, I don't care, diba? But this one, Pilipino tayo lahat diba? So, kahit super cash ka, super casual ka, uy, alam mo naman mga Pilipino, diba? O, basta may onting Philippines dyan, o proud, Pinoy, ganyan. So, it's really a big loss for us. Not being able to compete and win. And I think na-cover nyo naman na lahat. And I just want to make
one other thing, Sam, that you said about Filipino basketball fans. I watched the Japan versus Finland game. I was partly happy for Japan and partly sobrang jealous ako sa Japan. I mean, I wanna have that moment. No, the last time I had that moment for Gilas was in 2013
when they made the World Cup against Korea.
When we made the World Cup against Korea, I had that moment. Yeah. I was on the floor. I was on my feet cheering. I wanna, diba? The Japanese fans in Okinawa were crying. Every single person.
Yuta Watanabe was crying. Yeah, I saw it.
Diba? Yuta Watanabe and one of their stars, si Baba, was crying on the floor. I mean, I want to have that moment for our national team, diba? And yun nga, sobrang lugi tayo eh. Wala tayong moment na gano'n eh. Puro galit lang tayo. Yung sabi nga ni Maui kanina, yung takot ka for the Angolans who were there cheering for their team. I don't think that they were in any danger because I think all Filipino fans were angry at Chot Reyes rather than the Angolans.
Yeah. Actually, di ko nga napansin to, but apparently si Naveen Ganglani tweeted nung game that during the fourth quarter when Chot Reyes was shown on the screen daw, nagbudo yung fans. I was too engrossed in the game watching and hoping that the Philippine team would wake up, that I didn't even realize that talagang mainit na yung mga ibang fans watching the game live with Chot Reyes again. And it's sad also for me. I mean, we don't want any person to be blamed, but I think it's time. Everything gets outdated. I mean, everything has to change. We have to accept that to be able to move forward.
Si Chot Reyes lang yung scapegoat ng buong sistema eh. Actually.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah, scapegoat.
He's the face of what's wrong with the entire system. And he gets, I think, that the hate is a bit much for him, but he doesn't not deserve it also. I think there's blame to be put on him as well.
Yes, that's something
diba?
That we should say. I think it's not all about Chot. I mean, they could have picked another coach if they didn't want Chot Reyes to coach. I mean, it really has to do with everything, probably SBP, the system. I mean, we could have had Coach Baldwin. I mean, he coached some of the FIBA games. But it's not all on Chot. Unfortunately, he has to shoulder all the blame just because it's still him, the coach. I mean, it's been 10 years, nothing has happened. We've stagnated, or even
also to be fair to all of his haters, he does make it easy to hate him. I mean, he has an ego.
Pumapatol din kasi. So I think that's something that he is to blame himself for that. He's bringing more heat into it. But yeah, just like any casual fan, just like any Filipino, all we want is for them to succeed. We're not haters. We just want the Philippine team to succeed. We are one when it's the national team, whether you're from LaSalle, you're from San Beda, you're from UST, UP, Ateneo, whatever. Most of the Filipinos are one. even non-basketball fans watch the Gilas. I mean, it's crazy that we keep on underperform. My mom, who doesn't watch basketball, watches Gilas. I mean, we have to do better.
Exactly.
We have to be better. I think this is our national sport, for God's sake.
Tama ka dyan, Maui. Tama ka dyan. I mean, nakwento nga sa inyo, I was in Tagaytay. We were trying to stream the game. And, sorry. Mamaya na. But we were trying to stream the game and everyone wanted to watch. Yung mga nieces ko na girls na 9, 10 years old, they wanted to watch the game because yung lolo nila wanted to watch. So it was like a family event na sayang lang. It was very disappointing. So talo tayong lahat no? Sayang din. I know we always hate on this. Pero I have to bring it up again. I have to bring it up. Yung being able to watch it online, it's such a hassle for me. So, bilang nasa Tagaytay ako, and hindi ko siya I had to resort to an illegal Facebook stream just to be able to try to watch it. But, kasi, so, if you guys know, I watch it through Smart Live Stream. And I was in Tagaytay, walang signal yung Smart. Pero yung Globe ko malakas. But you can only watch games on Smart Live Stream if you're on a if you're using smart internet. Other than that, Gab was telling me, panoorin mo na lang sa Pilipinas Live, which is a paid app. Kahit na mura, paid app. So, yun siguro masingit lang yung bolero ko for that, for yung online coverage, being able to watch it. I know we always hate on it sa UAAP, but it's the same thing sa Gilas, so I have to bring it up. But I think maganda na talaga yung sinabi niyo, Gab and Maui. And again, I think sakto din sinabi mo, Gab. We don't want to put the blame on like one person, on Chot, or we don't want to put the blame on any of the 12 players lang solely.
Especially the players, yeah.
Especially the players. Like, sa totoo lang, if I were a player, ayokong sumali sa Gilas kasi ayokong mapahiya o ayokong ma-blame, di ba? So, it's a very difficult job to say yes to commit to like this team and risk being hated. Tingnan mo naman si Kiefer Ravena, the longest tenured international player of the Philippines, and he's like one of the most hated players. So it's a very difficult job. So, but we need to change. I think is what Gab and Maui are also trying to say here, and that's what we really want to push for, diba? I don't want to end on a negative note na puro hate na lang. We're nakakapagod talaga, but we're really hopeful na magbago. We're really hopeful na mabago yung sistema, and there will be changes. Hopefully this is a wake-up call. So, we're super over time. We wanted to make this a really short episode. I just want to keep this short. I want to ask you, Gab and Maui, what's your hope for Gilas in the future? I'm not even gonna ask you about the Italy game. Let's not talk about that kasi bahala na kung ano mangyari bukas against Italy. Not really looking good for us. Pero miracles can happen. Baka maiyak si Gab bukas. But I want to ask you guys, what's your hope?
I want that Japan moment.
Bahala na. But I want to look at it long term, no? Ano yung gusto niyo makita, or what are you hoping to see in the mid to long term for us to succeed? Let's start with Gab and then let's end with you, Maui. Go, Gab.
I think we've mentioned this before in the past. We have to start
briefly lang.
Young pa lang. We can't do this na in every international tournament magtatawag tayo ng lahat ng pros natin and have them train for 2 weeks, 1 week before the actual tournament, and then expect to win or to perform. It's just, we have to follow the lead of countries who are successful at basketball. The USA is an exception because they have the best players in the world. They're the only exception, but other countries start from kids pa lang, they grow up and they play together for years. Not weeks, years. And we don't see that in the Philippines. My hope is for Gilas, gayahin nila yung women's. What Pat Aquino is doing there, gayahin nila. Pick up that system. What he's doing. If all the good players go to NU, I don't care. Well, I care a little bit, but uh, but yeah, if it benefits the whole country, why not give it a try, man? Pat Aquino has shown that it works. Diba? Pat Aquino has built a program where girls from teenagers are playing until they're adults, into their late 20s. And it has shown success. They're now in the top flight of Asian basketball and are probably gonna compete in the Women's World Cup. And they compete in the highest level. And they play modern advanced basketball. And they're all familiar with each other. So that's my hope. Start from the ground up. It can't just be this thing of let's put guys together, have an NBA player or Clarkson, then let's see what happens. Bahala na. It can't be that. Lugi talaga.
Shout out to Pat Aquino and the women's team again. If you listen to our previous episodes, we're all big fans of that program. Maui. So start them young. Good point, Gab. Maui. Let's end it with you.
I think it's two things for me. Number one is sort of a dream. My second one is sort of a dream, so I'll end with that. But just to add on Gab, yung first one, it's really about the program. I think they have to fix the program. That's the number one thing. I think most of the successful countries, even those that have no NBA players, do pretty well in their regions just because of their grassroots program. And to segue into that, I think number two is my dream. My dream is to finally get rid of that hagop rule in Asia. It's crazy that Asia is still penalized after all these years, probably more than 10 years or 15 years already. Players like Bahamas get Eric Gordon for free just because they're a developing country in basketball. It's crazy. And Filipinos, really Filipinos who play also in the PBA and have natural Filipino blood cannot play in the Gilas program just because of this silly rule where you have to have your passport when you're 16 years old. This is the same rule why Jordan Clarkson is still classified as a naturalized player and not as a local player. I think they have to take away this rule and really just do a better enforcement into checking yung eligibility. I think that would be my dream. All Asian countries will probably benefit just because of the number of immigrants. I think FIBA has to have a better system. It doesn't have to generalize and discriminate other potential players of the national teams na also want to play in the national team. I mean, it's crazy. Players like Cedric Bearfield want to play for Gilas but cannot just because of this rule. I understand that Asians have really taken advantage of this ruling kaya sa Asia lang iba, but I think it's time to revisit this. It's been a long time. There are a lot of players from Asian countries who also make it into the top leagues also. It's crazy that we are discriminating some of these players. So yeah, it's just really about hoping for the best, hoping for change, and really, but then again, even without this rule, the most important thing is really just the program. They have to do a complete overhaul. I think it is time to do an overhaul. It's been a decade. It's been 10 years since we qualified for the World Cup with Reyes. We have to change. I'm not saying it has to be top Baldwin. I'm saying that there has to be a better program. We have to feel that SBP has really prepared. I mean, casual people see that parang walang pinaghandaan. Parang lahat minadali. But we had time. We had 5 years to prepare for the World Cup. But yet, it still looks like we didn't prepare. I mean, I would accept a loss if we saw the effort, we saw the preparation. But this is crazy. We expect too much, but the preparation has been substandard to say the least. We have to have a better program. Really, what Pat Aquino is doing in the women's basketball, we have to do in men's basketball. We have to look at the programs of the other sports programs or other sports teams who are doing better. The women's football team, the other teams we have to look at them and replicate. We have to look at the other countries who do it better. We have to do a complete overhaul of the program. I hope and pray that we finally accept that we have to do an overhaul, because it has been 10 years and we have, at best, we have been stagnant. We have been declining. And when all of our Asian neighborhoods have been going up, we have been stagnant or even going down. We have to change. I mean, ano pa ba hintayin natin? Indonesia higher than us. I mean nothing against Indonesia, but we have been kings of SEA. We have been kings of SEA for what, 100 years. We have to be better than those people. We have to change.
Throwing shade.
Nothing against Indonesia.
Grabe.
I mean, it's more of really about Gilas. I mean, if you
Tama
watch
naman.
Southeast Asian
Gets
basketball
naman.
20
Gets
years
naman,
ago,
gets naman.
10 years ago,
Mhm.
college players lang were really destroying all of these Southeast Asian teams. Si Kiefer Ravena, when he was in college, was destroying Southeast Asian teams. And now we're having a hard time even beating these teams. We have to do better. Coach Chot said, I have to end with this. Coach Chot said that all throughout the year that they have to be judged by the performance of the team during the World Cup. They have to be held accountable. They have to be taken out.
They do.
Yan na,
May resibo kami, coach.
May resibo.
May resibo
Sinabi ni
kami.
Sinabi ni Coach Chot, judge us by our World Cup performance. It's the World Cup. We're 0-2. We should have won just against Angola. Even the ad makers say we should have won the game. It's crazy. Time for a change. Time to overhaul the program.
Okay, let's end it there. Very passionate speech by Gab and Maui.
Ganda. Ang ganda.
Ang ganda, Maui. Speechless ako, pero teka lang. Before we end it, I just want to say, guys, we sound like, baka some of you might say we sound like haters, pero hindi. Si Gab at si Maui, they're just very, very passionate fans. And they want to watch Gilas and the Philippines succeed in basketball because we're big basketball fans. So talagang passionate lang kami about basketball and about Gilas and about the Philippines. So hindi talaga kami haters. We just want to win. We just want to compete. We want to have a competitive team. And alam mo, bulag ang pag-ibig. Kasi kahit na ano nang sinabi ni Gab and Maui ngayon, at the end of the day, bukas sa Philippines versus Italy, manonood pa rin yung dalawang unggoy na yan eh. Kasi mokong na yan. Kasi ganun lang talaga. Ganun lang talaga.
Ang sakit talaga. Ang sakit.
Ganun lang talaga. Big fans yan. Masyadong addict yan sa basketball for them not to watch. So, we love basketball. We want to support the Philippines at the end of the day. We want to cheer for the Philippines. And I hope, maraming mga keyboard warriors kami. Keyboard warriors, may video lang na has their own takes on this. Hopefully, it awakens everyone. And next time we talk about the World Cup, it will be better news. So that's it for our podcast today. You deserve better. As a Filipino, you deserve better.
Lagi na lang ganoon.
See you. Bye-bye.